You know who I feel bad for the most in America right now, or just in general, since the inception of this country? The one person above all I feel sorry for. It's the black grandmother. Well, hear me out. The reason why the black grandmother always gets the short end of the stick, 9 times out of 10 in the black community, is because us as black Americans, we do shit ass backwards, okay? So let's go back to high school. Well, let's go back earlier than that. You know how hoes are made? Hoes are made genetically, 9 times out of 10. Hoeing is genetic. So 9 times out of 10, if your mother was a hoe, as a woman, you're probably gonna be a hoe. If your grandma was a hoe, you're gonna be a hoe. See, there's a big division between hoes and ladies. And generally, you take on the attributes of genetically what's in your genetic pool. So when I say that, hoeing starts very early. You see your mom having a new dude come in and out the house every goddamn month, from you being a little girl to teenage years. And hoes are made 2 different ways. Generally, it's because most young women had some kind of sexual abuse happen to them, which is severely fucked up. Some kind of abuse happened to them as a kid. Generally, it's a boyfriend, mom's boyfriend, or an uncle, or a piece of shit grandfather, or whatever. You dig? And I know a couple of girls like that. They're attached to my family. Not directly to my family, but, you know, cousins of cousins, where the father was a piece of shit and he did something to the little girl. Now the little girl's all fucked up. And I pray that those girls can find solace. If you had something like that happen to you as a little girl, I hope that the thing that you do is you go to therapy. You go to therapy and you try to figure this shit out, man. I hope that you ain't out here doing the complete opposite of what makes a hoe. And the second thing generally is daddy issues. Now, I said something about daddy issues in a previous video, and I had someone reach out to me and tell me that they wanted me to make a clarification. Now, when I talk about daddy issues, hear me out. I'm not talking about women who have absentee fathers or a father that was some kind of abusive piece of shit. I'm not talking about that. When I talk about daddy issues, because there's plenty of women who didn't have a father figure, but still did the right things by going to therapy and by doing what they had to do to make sure that they didn't do the most destructive things for our community out here, by coming out here and having bastard kids for their mother to take care of. No, there's a couple of women in my family that have had this type of shit happen, attached to me, all right? And they're doing the work. So you not having a father in your life, or your father being a piece of shit, abusive piece of shit that did something to you, I'm not talking about you. When I talk about daddy issues, I'm talking about the complete opposite. The woman who had something happen to her as a child, or maybe not. Maybe she took on the norms of society now where it's cool to be a hoe. And from her being a hoe, what happens is she goes into her teenage years, and now she's fucking. And she's not taking her birth control every time she's fucking. And next thing you know, at 16 or 18 years old, let's say 15, 16, she's having a kid. And who ends up taking care of the kid? Grandma, the black grandma, her mother. So she's 15 with a child. The grandma's 30. And the great grandmother is fucking 50 years old. How the fuck does this make sense? And I know a lot of this shit stimulates from slavery, because black people were bred up as fucking cattle. They had sex farms in Ohio where white men would go just to have sex with the sexy black, or the attractive black slaves, excuse me. I'm not trying to sexualize them, but that's what they did, you know. And what they would do is they would breed black people as cattle. So when a woman was old enough, or a girl, not a woman, a girl was old enough to have her period, they would link her up with a man to have a kid. And this is how we have these old predatory ass niggas in our community who are fucking 40 and 50 and 35, and they want to fuck little kids because they're pieces of shit. I have had people in my family go through this type of shit. And this type of shit links up into some of the women that I've actually dated in my past who actually really did have daddy issues, where they didn't know their father. Their father lived on the other side of the country. And their father would fly in here to LA, ex-girlfriend of mine. Her father would fly in to LA, and she didn't know this shit until years later. She was a little girl. Her parents had broke up. But a lot of you know that when parents break up, they're still having sex. They're still having sex. So, you know, it doesn't stop, honestly, until the kid's a little bit older. So her father would fly into LA when she was 7 years old, and her mother never told her father was in town, and her father were having sex, and he would never even flying all the way from Virginia to LA, 6-hour flight. And this piece of shit wouldn't even go take his daughter to McDonald's. She didn't know this shit for 20 years, dude. We were in our 20s, and her mother told her that it slipped up. Oh, yeah, when your dad used to come out here. And she said, what? My dad? Yeah, your dad used to come out here when you were 7. And, you know, and she was like, and then she got all flustered. And this woman had severe daddy issues. She was a big time hoe. I only liked her because she was a hoe. I'm not going to lie to you. I took advantage of her because she was a hoe. These types of women generally have kids young, and the grandmother ends up taking care of the kids. That's why I say I feel bad for the grandmother, the black grandmother. The black grandmother, by the time she's 55, 60 years old, she's taking care of somebody else's fucking kids. My mom's going through that shit right now. My mom's going through a divorce right now, and her daughter-in-law on her ex-husband, on her husband's side, was some hood rat that I'm talking about, had some kind of abuse happen to her, pillhead, and the fuck CPS came and took the kid away, and my mom was the one that ended up taking the kid. Now she's going through a divorce, and my mom has sole custody of the kid. My mom's about to be 59 years old, and she's taking care of a 6-year-old. How is that fair to the black grandmothers? It's not. And my mom's just not the only case. I have an auntie, my auntie Cynthia, my mom's best friend since she was a little girl. Same thing happened to her. She ended up breaking up with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was a piece of shit, did some ill shit to my cousin. And my aunt ended up taking care of his sister's kids and raising them, not her kids. This shit happens all the time. Look around us. It don't matter where you at. Baltimore, New York, Boston. You niggas need to quit being so promiscuous and just fucking people just because it feels good to fuck them raw when you're 19 years old and you barely can afford to pay your own fucking metro bill that's $50 because you still live in your mama's house. And you already know, well, if I have the baby, my mom's going to be the one to be the surrogate mother. How the fuck is that fair to grandma? It's not, man. It ain't fair to grandma. You niggas are bastard makers. Bastard makers. Quit having kids if you can't even afford yourself. Quit having kids as kids. Pussy is good, even with a condom on. Ladies, it's good with a condom on. You don't need to fuck everybody that puts a dick in your face. You don't. Fellas, you ain't gotta fuck her raw just because she got a fat ass. You niggas are bastard makers. And you're putting so much stress on your mothers and your grandmothers, and you don't even realize it, and you don't really give a fuck. You're filling your mom's house up with kids, illegitimate kids. Ladies, by the time you're 35, you done had 2 or 3 kids by 2 different dudes, and now you want a square dude to come in and save you, while your mother is taking care of your kids for you. It's not your mother's responsibility to take care of your fucking kids. It's not. Quit being a bastard maker. Put a fucking condom on. Take your birth control. Or quit fucking. Stop fucking. I know your life sucks. I know you're broke. But quit fucking your way through life. Quit fucking your way trying to find a father figure. Seriously. Fellas, quit fucking your way trying to find a mother figure. A lot of you niggas got mommy issues just like they got daddy issues. Your mother disrespected you, treated you like shit as a kid. or she wasn't there. Grandma raised you. Now you out here trying to fuck women left and right to find a mother figure. I know for a lot of you simple-minded motherfuckers, this doesn't make sense to you. I know it doesn't. But for those of us that think complexly, it does make sense. Break the fucking cycle. Grandma shouldn't have to be wiping baby asses and shit at 77 years old. She's supposed to be chilling. Grandma shouldn't have to be taking your son to t-ball practice every goddamn week because your ass is too busy out here fucking and sucking and popping pills because your father or your dad, your mom's husband or somebody did something to you as a little girl. And rather than you be a grown-ass adult and go to therapy and start going to the gym and start going to focus groups and AA meetings and trying to make yourself better, you do the nigga route. You know, the drinking and the fucking and sucking, and you keep building this cycle. And what happens is these bastards end up becoming grown-ass teenagers that are out here bipping niggas in the bay, breaking in niggas' cars, robbing niggas in Brooklyn, selling dope in Miami, running trains on girls in Atlanta. Break the cycle.